Good to see you guys again. I'm doing these little talks kind of a little group at a time, so yeah, I'm wearing the same shirt. I actually have a whole closet full of shirts, but because one of you will email me about it. I know you will, so I'm delighted to be with you again. I mentioned earlier also that these little videos, in case this gets separated from the pack, we're going to talk about steps 10 and 11. And guys, I got to just throw this out here and just help you remember real quick. This is treatment center alumni stuff. We did these for you guys out there hunkered down around this virus, and these are just little short, little 30-minute little step study deals. Delighted to get a chance to do that. And please understand, remember, don't put it out there on an internet someplace where they can be distributed out there in recovery land. We're trying to adhere to the Sixth Tradition Association with outside entities with our 12-step fellowships is not what they appreciate. So y'all keep in mind and kind of help us stay out of trouble with that. And if any of y'all in this I mentioned have any questions about any of the steps that we're doing, just holler at me. At the end of these little talk, our guy always puts my little email and my phone numbers at the bottom, and y'all stay in touch with us and ask. I'll be more than glad to send you some stuff. A lot of times we'll give little quotes, and I can send you the quotes we used, or if I reference any kind of other literature out there, I would be more than glad to send you a lot of that stuff. So it's the least we can do, guys. It's the service that we can do. We want to stay connected with every single one of y'all, and we're grateful you're here. Let me erase this. There's my little buddies up there. We got Issue Man and Issue Woman up again, and they're my friends. 10th step stuff, guys. There's a lot of confusion about the 10th and 11th step. And again, we're going to hit some high spots here. We're not going to get real in depth. But I want to kind of make a clear distinction here. I've got an app on my phone, and I'm not going to tell you which one it is, but I got it for nightly reviews, but they call it a 10th step app, and it's not a 10th step app. It's about nightly review stuff. That's not 10th step. 10th step stuff is yeah. 10th step stuff is pretty clear. On page 84, it says, this thought brings us to step 10, which suggests we continue to take personal inventory and continue to set right any new mistakes as we go along. We vigorously commence this way of living as we cleaned up the past. That means as we're making our amends. It doesn't mean you got to finish your amend and then go to the 10th step. Got too many people killing people out there telling you take each one and just, guys, it says while I'm making amends, while I'm doing that process, it may take me years to get some of these amends made, but I got to start doing this 10th step stuff pronto. It's not an overnight matter. It should continue for a lifetime. Continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. When these crop up, we ask God at once to remove them. We discuss them with someone immediately, make amends quickly if we've harmed. Then we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. Love and tolerance of others is our code. Gosh, we forget that sometimes in AA. You know, as long as I'm not drinking, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Guys, but you can not drink and just still be miserable. And it doesn't mean, folks, not once in my 32 years of sobriety, not once did I ever remember getting up and intentionally going out to step on somebody. I'm just not that kind of person. I've never intentionally gone out and tried to harm somebody, but I do it all the time. Inadvertently, I get busy, I get quick. There's a thousand reasons. But when this thing crops up, it's not something that I have to take at night and do a nightly review. I'm not knocking nightly reviews, bop till you drop. But this is stuff talking about as I go through the day, what I'm supposed to do to clean this nonsense up. And I can give you a couple examples with that. One in particular, I was in an airport. And a lot of the stuff that I end up in trouble with are in airports because I spend so much time in airports traveling, at least until the last couple of months. This is the longest I've been away from a plane and as long as I can remember. But I was in an airport and having a little getting off a plane and I'm trying to make a connection, and I'm going pretty quick because I've got to return a call in between, and I'm in a hurry to get out, and you know how it is, and the ding, and everybody gets up real quick, and you know, and I'm right behind this big old guy, he's a big guy, and I'm right behind him, and in trying to be the gentleman, you know, everybody starts to file out of the plane, and he takes a step back so that the nice lady next to him can get out, which is, I'm just going to say this, guys, this is don't do that, because it backs everybody up behind there. Just, she's a big girl, she can get out. Okay, help her with her bag if you need to. Don't back up. But this guy backed up, and he stepped on my foot, and I'm sitting there like, you know, I says, God dang it, and I shoved a little up front. I says, man, you're all over me here. Push up, let's go. And got quick with him, and he looked around. He says, I didn't do anything. And he's walking on out, and I'm eating his butt the whole way out. You know, I'm mad. I got my little bag, and this wasn't 2 years ago. So I mean, I'm not exactly a beacon of recovery, and I'm mad, I'm grumbling, and I'm phone, and I call this guy back on the phone, and I'm talking to him, and he knows I'm mad about something, and I got my head down, and literally I walked into the girls' bathroom, got my head down, and I got my little bag, and I walk in, and the girls, and I see this flight attendant, and she goes, oh, no, and I was like, oh man, I am so distracted. You know, I walked out, I laughed, and did my business over there, and went back to the gate where I was supposed to be, and I'm standing up there, and I got this other guy on the phone, I'm returning this call, and I turn around, and I look across the waiting room, and there's that big beefy guy that had stopped me, and I'm just like saying, what the, you know, and I look down, you know, I'm still mad, I'm trying to justify why it was perfectly okay for me to talk to him the way I did. And I'm sitting there realizing what I had done and what a poot I was, and I got my bag, and I walked over to him. It's like the big joke always when you walk up to somebody you don't know and you're wearing a black eye patch, walk slowly. And I walk up, and he sees me, and he goes, whoa, you know, he holds his hand up. He thinks I'm going to continue the argument. And I just said, buddy, please hear me out. I am so sorry. I got snappy with you. I know what you were doing, and I appreciate it. I had no right to talk to you the way I did. And this guy, I tell you, melted. I mean, he was as nice as could be. He said, you want to sit down a minute? And he moved over, and I sat down next to him, and he was a lawyer, and we were needing lawyers at the time, talking, and we just had a great little visit. He was on the same flight I was, going on my second leg, and it was just, we got a chance to visit, we stayed close, and you know, I sat with him on the other flight. But I didn't have to walk around grinding my teeth about it. I saw I did something stupid, and I went and cleaned it up. That's what we do. I'll tell you another one real quick. I always laugh about it. Coming through TSA one time, and I had I wear this little cheap, don't have it on, little Timex watch, and so you can go through security without setting off any bells and whistles. And I'm going through TSA. I'm in San Antonio Airport like twice a week often, and I'm going through, and anyway, I set off the alarm, and the guy says, you know, we need to check your watch, sir. And I'm mad as can be. You know, I'm running a little late, and I'm just like, God, you know, what? You know, it's a stupid little $35 Timex. It's not, you know, he waved me down, and the whole time he's doing it, trying to be doing what he's supposed to do, I'm being snippy with him. Can't believe I'm telling y'all this. And I walk down towards my gate, and I'm pulling my bag, and one of the guys I sponsor up in Dallas called me on the phone. I've sponsored him for years, and I'm telling him these stupid TSA guys and what they have to do, and I can't believe, you know, he's treated like a damn terrorist, and you know, blah blah blah, and this and this guy I'm sponsoring, and says, my, it sounds like somebody needs to do a little 10th step. I'll never forget. And I said, yeah, my, it sounds like somebody needs to get a new sponsor. And I hung up on him, and we're laughing. And I took about another 2 steps and pulled off to the side and said, yeah, he's absolutely right. I hung up my stupid phone, and I got my little bag and went straight back to the gate. And he saw me coming, the same stuff, held up his hand. You know, he was done with my smart ass. He was done. And I just, buddy, we got 10 seconds. And he said, yeah, I'm fixing to take my break. Hang on just a second. And he knows it's going to be, you know, butt chewing part 2, and he comes over that and he says, what? And I said, but I've got to make amends to you for the way I talked to you. There was absolutely no reason that I should talk to you that way. You were just doing your job. I watch y'all in here every time. Y'all are the best. And I just apologize. I take full responsibility for my very poor behavior. He looked at me like I'd slapped him. He's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. How cool is that? And he shook my hand, and I mean, it was just the best. Guys, I still see him. Every time I go into the airport, a lot of times I'll see him, and he'll wave. If he's clear across the terminal over there, he'll still wave if he sees me. So vice versa. I made a new friend, and that's the way this thing's supposed to walk. I got to tell you, I pivoted around on my little bag, and I'm walking back to my gate. The walk back to my gate the second time was completely different than that first walk. We simply cannot be burdened with all of this stuff every day. We're going to make mistakes. The 10th step is about cleaning that stuff up as we go along. It's the best. It's the absolute best. There's some 11th step stuff. I have a bunch I can send you. There's a great little 11th step stuff talks with prayer and meditation, and there's a great little piece written by Wally P. It was actually written for some Oxford group guys, but Wally P. put a lot of this stuff together called How to Listen to God. He's got some really simplified guides about meditation. I want to read something to you. And again, I can send this to you because I was flabbergasted when I saw it. Meditation does not mean what you hear in meetings. Clear out your mind or imagine a peaceful place. If you get a 1938 dictionary and you look up meditation, you'll see that it meant thoughtful contemplation. Now, for all of you guided meditation people out there, please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I love guided meditations. There are different types of meditations, and you can go out there. I know we do some here on campus with people and learning how to meditate. You've got somebody to help you guide you through this. And the purpose of meditation, as the big book is written, was not so that you could leave your body into the astral plane someplace. It was so that you could concentrate on some particular thing that was going on in your life. Contemplate your day. Think about the hours ahead, what you're going to do, or things you need to do. I never sit down in meditation, and I meditate every morning, guys. There's a lot of things I don't do on a regular basis in AA. Meditation is not one of those. I get up before Patty and in my little office, and I've got quiet time with God, and I'm going to sit there and think about the things as I go through the day. The instructions out of the book says, and you guys can read them. But it freaks me out sometimes because I'm sitting there talking to so many people. Even my twin brother and I, we had this long conversation about it one time. There's just so many people out there that don't ever meditate. It's like, my friend Charlie P. says it, the 11th step is not extra credit. It's like, Bill didn't put it in there as a step because he wanted us to just read about it and maybe someday when you have time that you can do it. They call these the disciplines, 10 and 11 and 12. That means these are things that we're going to do for the rest of our life, disciplines. 10th step, when I step on somebody, I'm going to clean it up. And then in the 11th step is that I'm going to get quiet time and I'm going to nurture this aloneness, this alone time with my Creator, whatever that Creator is. Bill Wilson wrote in 1958, that's a long time, 1958, if we expend even 5% of the time on step 11 that we habitually and rightfully lavish on step 12, the results could be wonderfully far-reaching. Bill Wilson, 1958. Bill was a meditating fool. In his last years of his life, there's some great articles out there I can send you that talk about, I got to meet the man that actually showed Bill Wilson how to do transcendental meditation. And Bill Wilson writes some stuff about the results of that transcendental meditation, him learning how to go deeper into this meditative state. Phenomenal stuff. Bill Wilson was changed. This was right a few years before he passed away, and he attributed that to helping him get through the tough days when he was so sick. Pretty amazing. Talking about God isn't the same as experiencing God. Got a lot of people that can talk until you're just non-stop about God. But their life is in disarray. There's something that amazing that happens in that closeness and that stillness is when you're going to get the guidance that you need. And I could sit up here all day long and try to explain it, and it's not going to mean anything to you until you actually sit and try to do it. It takes effort. My first early attempts at meditation were pretty stilted. I had too many images of old hippies sitting cross-legged with patchouli oil, and nothing wrong with that. I come from that age, but I was never very good at it. Every time I try to meditate, there's 1,000 things coming into my mind all at once. And Mark, when he started sponsoring me in '93, he had me sit down with an egg timer, which is a noisy little apparatus that you have on like old stoves, and you clank it, and it just all you can hear is a click, 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 and it'll you can set it for 5 minutes. But he would start us off, so you got to start someplace. So you kind of get quiet and you meditate for a short period of time. Can you sit for 5 minutes? And listen, for some of you, it was for me. For some of you, 5 minutes is going to seem like 5 hours. Alone in your head, it's tough. But if you can do 5 minutes, then set it up. Do 10 minutes, next week when you can sit and contemplate it. A lot of times I'll just sit for a minute and I'll touch my foreheads and focus on that. And there's little timers now, guys, on your cell phone. I don't have it, but if you holler at me, I can give you the websites. But you can go to, there's little apps that you can do in meditation. Pretty cool little apps. One, they're silent. You don't have to have that clicking sound that'll distract you. But it's so cool because you can look on there and you can see the hundreds of thousands of other people that are meditating at the same time you are. It's pretty cool to see how many, amazing. I'm convinced if everybody on this earth would shut up a minute and get quiet and pray to their higher power, get quiet, sit alone in a room by themselves, we would live in a utopia. All this craziness would go away. That's just my belief. It changed my life. I'm lucky I came in a sponsorship lineage. Up my little lineage, there was a guy named Paul Martin that wrote a bunch of articles for the Grapevine, and I've talked to a lot of y'all about those articles. I can send them to you if you want. Just ask for Paul Martin articles. But he talks about meditation a lot in there, and he was one of those that meditated an hour and a half every day. He meditated 45 minutes in the morning and 45 minutes at night. And I'm going to tell you, this guy was as cool as a cucumber, and is one of the most... He just was a special man. He's passed away a few years back, and I miss him still. Y'all need to check those articles out. Holler at me, and I'll be glad to send them. But if you could sit for a short period of time, and I don't care, fingers or just get comfortable, folks. Sit, uncross your legs, sit in a chair. You can sit on a couch. If you got to lay down, then lay down. But my problem is I lay down, I go to sleep. So if I can sit up, I always, again, have a piece of paper next to me when I meditate. Always have those little legal tablets, those little small ones with the lines on them. I live by those things, and I sit there next to it because a lot of times it's in the meditation that I get guidance about what I'm going to do. A lot of times, I've got to do an open topic out here on campus, and I don't know what I'm going to talk about today, and I'm sitting there, and in meditation, the thought will come about what I'm supposed to do in meditation. It's, we're supposed to be on this thing called a spiritual path, guys, and my sponsor cleared it up. I mean, he talks to me about it all the time. My job back in the day, 1987, when I first got sober, my job was to spiritually awaken. My job today is to stay awake. Richard Ward talks about being awake but asleep. My sponsor Mark used to talk about it all the time. How many of y'all have done that? You're just 100 miles an hour. You're like I was when I was talking about that guy in that airport, and my mind's distracted, and I'm not looking at the beauty around me. My head is so I was walking down on the island one time. I'll just tell you a quick story. I'm walking down the island 100 miles an hour, and I was an administrator for this place down there, and I worked there a bunch of years, and it just I'm trying to get out of my head. I'm trying to relax, but my mind's all tied up with work and sponsees and my little meeting down there. And I'm walking. I used to walk 5 miles a day down there, and I'm just trying to get some exercise. And I'm looking at this little kid, and he's pointing up the sky, and I think he's pointing at my patch. Little kids go crazy with this eye patch. Everybody thinks I don't like little kids. I love little kids, but I freak them out. They see the patch, and some of them it upsets. So, I'm kind of dodging him like that. And I get just almost by him, and his mom says, he wants you to look up there at the clouds. And I look and I says, oh, I'm sorry. And I looked up, and there's this there's rainbow up there, right off the coast, right off the Gulf of Mexico. And I look up there, and there's it was the prettiest rainbow I'd ever seen in my life. But guys, I'm not seeing it. The whole time I'm out there walking, I'm not seeing it because my head is so far up my own behind. It's all about me. I am not spiritually awake at that point. That little kid was spiritually awake. That's where I've got to be. I got to be like that little kid, that I can see the cool little things that are happening around me on a daily basis. Bless his little heart. That's why I surround myself with men and women like so many of y'all that are watching this, because y'all help me stay awake. You help me to see what God's trying to show me. In the stillness, when I get quiet with God, folks, I'm looking for guidance. My prayer is always, God, show me what I need to see. And I get quiet. And a lot of times, guys, the topic of the lecture I'm going to do or something that's going on in my life, I get an answer to. I can't tell you how many times I've sat there. I bet you a lot of y'all have experienced this same thing. Be sitting in there, and the name of somebody's name will cross over your head. It's just like, golly. And I'll sit there and jot it down real quick, go back and do what I'm doing. Guys, don't be distracted. The guy outside with a stupid leaf blower, you'll notice it, you'll acknowledge it, and then go back to your thoughts. Just on through there. Guys, you're not going to leave the world. Just try to stay as focused as you can on what's in front of you, your head. And miracles happen, folks. I tell this story, I've told some of you a year or two again. This was just classic example what happens. Patty and I laugh about it because it happens to us all the time in meditation. I was in there meditating, and I'm thinking about this kid that I met in Yuma, Arizona. He was just a sweetheart of a kid. He was actually a host when I spoke over there. This was a bunch of years ago, and I hadn't talked to him in 5 years. And I keep track of all those guys usually, but I just lost track. And I'm thinking about this kid out of the clear blue sky in meditation. I think about him. And I get to work, for a second, and I get a minute and shut the door, and I called him on the phone. I kept his number, and I called him, and I'm going to tell you, he was driving down the road, and he got real quiet, and he said, when he finally realized who I was, and he said, "Why did you call me today?" I said, "Buddy, I was just thinking about you. I was meditating this morning, and your name crossed my little head," and it was like he was crying. And he said, "Chris, can I call you right back?" And absolutely hung up. And sure enough, about 10 minutes later, he called me back. He said, "Chris, I don't know what to tell you. I've been in such a bad spot. I'm still sober, haven't drank, but I had a fight with a guy at the group. I don't remember what the problem was. It was some tension at the group, and he had walked away. And he's just stopped going and had stopped connecting with the people he had been connected with before, and he was alone out there by himself, not doing well." Folks, we can get sick again. I can be a recovered alcoholic, but I can also get unrecovered if I stop doing the disciplines that we're talking about. This guy wasn't meditating, he wasn't working with alcoholics anymore, and he was getting sicker by the day. He knew it was just a matter of time before he picked up a drink. And I was able to laugh with him a little bit. We visited on the phone, and I don't know, guys, last time I talked to him, he was back on track. He went back and cleaned up the wreckage in the group, and he was doing okay. Do you think for a second that was a coincidence that his name would cross? Guys, this has happened hundreds of times. If this was just that one time, I'd say forget it. Again, there's an old quote out there, guys. When you stop believing in coincidences, you'll start understanding spirituality. God shows us stuff all the time. He guides us. It may not be happening to some of you as often as you would like. Meditation is the answer. Get quiet. God is not going to speak over the TV. He's not going to speak over the earphones in your head. Just drives me crazy. Just unplug, get quiet. Mention this real quick and I'll let you go. I have a place on my desk where I meditate. Sometimes in the summer, fall, whenever we can, I sit outside. I love to meditate outside, but a lot of times I'm at my desk. I like to be close to my stuff. I think all of you need a sacred place, some place that's yours. Some place away from everybody so that you're not being distracted. It's difficult to do it at the kitchen table when you got kids eating breakfast. Come on, I understand the challenge here with mothers and fathers trying to take care of the little ones and stuff, but find some time when you can get away. I've got pictures of my old sponsees and sponsors around my desk and some things that I love. A lot of gifts that y'all have given me over the years, little medallions or little, I don't know. I got a little issue man button sitting there on my desk, and I was up in Sedona one time and picked up a little twig off one of their little sacred trees up there, and it's just stuff that's mine that nobody else would understand, but they're just little. I immediately sit there and get calm. Hopefully you've got a little safe place that you can go and get quiet. You don't have to again take an hour to do it. Just a few minutes alone with some quiet time. It'll change you forever. I want to read you these 10-step promises. I read you the 9th-step promises, which are wonderful promises. 10th step promises to close this out. The 10th step promises absolutely make those pale by comparison. These guys early on when I got into Alcoholics Anonymous, they read me these promises because, buddy, I want to tell you, if you want to share some hope with a newcomer, read these promises. Bottom of page 84, most of y'all know where they are. And we've ceased fighting anything or anyone, even alcohol. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Cease fighting anything or anyone. This stupid virus, my finances, health. Guys, God's got this. He's taking care of us. We just got to go along for the ride and do what we can do. For by this time, sanity will have returned. The sanity they're talking about is also the sanity around alcohol and drugs. We will seldom be interested in liquor. If tempted, we recoil from it from a hot flame. We react sanely and normally, and we find that this happens automatically. We will see that our new attitude towards liquor has been given us without any thought or effort on our part. It just comes. This is the miracle of it. We're not fighting it. Neither are we avoiding temptation. Hot, man. We feel as though we've been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. We've not even sworn off. Instead, the problem has been removed. It does not exist for us. We are neither cocky nor are we afraid. That's our experience. That is how we react so long as we keep in fit spiritual condition. Guys, it didn't say as long as we stand guard against the first drink. I'm not knocking any of that. It just says if we do the things we're supposed to stay in fit spiritual condition, the obsession to use leaves you and you're going to be okay. I'm going to tell you guys, I'm watching a lot of y'all folks out there. Some of y'all are doing so good. It's just like, I know we've got this pandemic going on. It's scary times out there. You're sober and you're kicking butt and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I know some people out there that are scared to death and they're worried all the time. And we're watching a lot of people relapse. I understand it. I'm not taking a shot. I understand it. But if we can get back into a fit spiritual condition, understanding where our power actually comes from, buddy, you're going to be golden. I'll mention this in closing. 10th step and 11th step ask us both to stay in touch with the people around us, to lean on the folks. Any of y'all out there that are going through a tough time around this illness and around just the stuff that's happening out there, the craziness, you call. There's not a day goes by in the last, I've worked in this business, 27 years, I guess. There's not been a day, I can guarantee you, that I don't have at least one call. Usually I get 10 or 15 calls. Usually that I haven't had at least one call that had somebody call me, apologetically call me. I'm sorry to bother you. Maybe you probably don't remember me, but I'm kind of in a jam and I just needed to bounce something off and I have a quick question. Guys, I said this in one of the other little talks we did. Please please understand this. I know if you're having a problem, you're embarrassed. If you've relapsed, I know you're full of shame, you're embarrassed. We're just so glad to hear from you. We're just so glad you're not dead. None of us out there, folks, myself included, are going to get sober or stay sober by ourselves. We all need each other. We need to get on those stupid Zoom meetings that we don't want to do. We're going to get on them, we're going to talk, and we're going to share. We're going to be of service where we can. We're going to lean on our little litter mates. We're going to call and check on them and make sure they're okay. Guys, all of us together, we're going to stay sober. We're going to do okay. Alone, in my head, I will eventually tell myself, I'll separate myself from my Creator. I'll disconnect from that spiritual path. And my head will eventually tell me it's okay to do something stupid. That's the craziness. That's the insanity of alcoholism and drug addiction. We don't want to lose you. Bother me. Please, call me. Keep calling me. Keep checking in. And because we love you. This next little session I'm going to do next week will be on the 12-step stuff. And I may go a little over 30 minutes on that one, guys, because I got to tell you, 12-step stuff, Bill Wilson says, is the foundation stone of our recovery. Thank y'all. I hope I see you soon. Bye.